Hi. You want me to speak with someone? Very well, you've done the same with my request often enough. I'm quite looking forward to seeing this interaction. How long are we meant to wait for this friend of yours? I do have work to do, you know. Ah, here you are. Pardon the delay. It took some time to acquire robes of an appropriate size. Is this them? Ooh, new robe model. Silver! Unukalhai? Indeed, it is I. Trust me, I can hardly believe that I'm here myself. I should think so. When I sent Demogen to ask about you, it never occurred to me that you might be able to cross the rift without Ascian aid. No mysterious mask? My choices and my reasons are my own now. If I'm to have faith in them, in myself, I cannot hide who I am. Not. Speaking of which, Unukalhai was kind enough to fill me in, like some. Wow. And I was interested to hear of an erstwhile hero of the 13th serving libations at the Wandering Stairs. But that this hero should be you surpasses the scope of even my considerable imaginings. Outed! Was that you Grunus lit so long ago? I don't remember what that is. Not so long to me, or you, mayhap, though I thought I might at last put those days behind me. But perhaps this is for the best. They're not all bad memories. They never are. I should very much like to hear your story. Should you be willing to share it? Our world, like this one, had its share of would-be heroes, myself and Unukalhai among them. Unlike your warriors of light, however, each was unaware of or concerned with our fellows. But to fight alone is to fall alone, and the insidious ether of the aura side used to seal primals corrupted once noble souls and turned them one by one to darkness. Even those who resisted this fate could not escape its consequences. No surprise, perhaps, as we continued to struggle in solitude. We were spared by Ascian machinations, but only as our world met its death. But what if that death can be undone? I was told that much of the first was consumed by light as our home world was by darkness, yet balance and life are being restored to even that scoured land they call the empty. I thought about this. When was it that I was thinking about this? I can't remember, but I speculated about, what... In fact, I think I was talking about the Eden storyline at the time. In fact, was I not talking about Eden stuff for this patch, which I haven't done yet? This idea that Gaia and Reen could do something about the 13th. As I said, I haven't done the Eden storyline yet because I'm really behind. If such a thing is possible, why then not the reverse? Could we not bring light back to the 13th? Even the Ascians considered the 13th lost, thus was it excluded from the rejoining. But what say you? You have a way of making miracles happen. The world of darkness was not in a state I'd consider salvageable. Anything is possible. Hope. That doesn't sound like an empty platitude coming from you. It was the same with Ardbert's. Pardon the interruption, but might I suggest a closer examination of conditions on the 13th before we form any conclusions? We could use the crystal tower to open a void gate, couldn't we, please? Have you lost your head? The Crystal Tower is not a toy, and you are not to use it to unleash great and terrible void sent upon this world. According to the records, there was a group who worked out how to open small void gates, though, through which to summon minor fell beasts and the like. Magics of that nature should work, though I am unsure if any with knowledge of the original technique yet live. That sounds familiar. Yes, Taina can do it. Oh, this is surprisingly well tied together, isn't it? This was clearly planned from the start. How fortunate. Let us inquire with this Taina immediately. Yes, you do that. In the meantime, I will ready a means for peering into the depths of the void without endangering ourselves. Use these to contact me when you're prepared to open the gate. Use these. I've no idea what he's given us. We shall, at the very first opportunity, I promise. Okay. Have you... What a fascinating place to spend one day. To spend one's days. I should love to hear more about the patrons that have passed through. It really hasn't aged a day. Not that it should surprise me, of all people, but... Not that it should surprise me, of all people, but... Speak with the little man! He's a man, isn't it, Taina? He's a boy? I can't remember. I think he's a boy. Not that it matters to the story. It's always a pleasure, Demagen. Aye, but who's your friend? I don't believe we've met. We have not, as I'm not from this world. The situation is rather complicated, but I hope you might be willing to assist me. Is Unukalhai's robe model new? It's not from something else, is it? It is true that we had the means to open such portals. We call them hollows, and it was through one of these that I was drawn into the rift. So it is possible. Not with my power alone. I understand the greatness of your need, and were Nilbert still at my side, I should be glad to make the attempt, but the technique required the combined force of our energies and resonance. If one person's magics are insufficient, perhaps I could assist. From what I can sense, our ethereal reserves are roughly equivalent, and our physical similarities suggest that our energies are not incompatible. I fear you underestimate the difficulty of the task. Nilbert and I were born for this, and even so it took us years before our efforts were perfectly in step. I realise that it's a lot to ask considering that we've just met, but could we not at least attempt it? Yours is the only such magic I've ever heard of. If we might actually be able to save my home. May I interject? You will recall that the crystals in my possession preserve the memories of the four former Warriors of Light, including Nilbert's in ethereal form. And Unukalhai here has a particular talent for interpreting the minds and motives of ethereal beings, the primals. If I could apply the same principles to interpret Nilbert's crystal... An experiment worth trying, at the least. I'll fetch it. Where have you put it? Is it behind the bar? That was quick. Speak to me, Nilbert. Do his memories of training with Taina remain? They do. And such strong sentiment with them. Taina, you should know that Nilbert desired nothing so much as to rescue you, his dearest friend. He held so fiercely to his memories of the technique he mastered together because he hoped they might be your salvation. Oh, Nilbert, I won't let them go to waste. I will do what I can to help see the 13th restored. Thank you. I won't pretend I understand the half of what's going on here. Just keep them from running headlong into anything too dangerous, will you? What I do? Nothing to worry about so long as you're around, I'm sure. Wicked White, I nearly forgot. I've half a dozen orders to fill. You know where to find me when you've made progress with the gates. The hero's journey. Interesting. One step closer. If you have no objection, Taylor, I'd like to practice creating hollows as soon as possible. Of course, but not within the Crystarium. If we succeed in opening even the smallest window into that realm, it's likely that fell creatures will emerge. Follow me. Bye, Serig. Speak with Taylor by the Exarch gates. Right, what could possibly go wrong with this? Unukalhai. Please tell Taylor we can begin. He's right there, you can tell him yourself. Assuming no one ventures near, this location should be suitable. Unukalhai, when I give the word, begin channeling your ether. Nilbear's memories will have told you as much, but it is imperative that you maintain focus on our ethereal resonance throughout this process. With that in mind, Demagen, I ask that you take care of any creatures that emerge from the hollow. They should not be of a strength to challenge you, and it will allow us to adjust our attunement without risk. And therefore, we summon a greater void sense. And let us begin. Diablos comes flying through. Come on, flow where I tell you to. Let me attempt to match your focus. There we go. It opened. It's small, but enough to let something through. Be ready, Demagen. And... oh, it's a void elemental. Oh. A void torch. Easy peasy. It's been quite a while since I opened a gate between worlds like this, but there are some things we never forget, aren't there? It's like riding a bike. That was far too much effort for such a small gate. On the contrary, given this was your first attempt, it's incredible that we succeeded at all. Now, try synchronizing your breath with mine. Focus the rhythm of the ethereal flow. Alright, I'm ready. Everybody's finding friends. Oh, here we go. And... open! Ooh, that is bigger. That's what she's... no. Aha! A larger hollow. Of course, the void scent may be proportionately stronger. Oh, it's one of those cool things with the eyes. I wish they could keep the music going. But that's not how this works, unfortunately. Void Wanderer. Ooh, I don't think I'd ever heard it make that noise before. No, they're saying the same thing. Oh, he seems at peace now. Where your breath ends, mine begins. Where your ether flows, mine follows. That's the World of Darkness music. Together. Unbelievable. Full attunement so soon. Be ready, Demagen. Oh, what are these weirdness? Do, 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 do. Void Scavenger. Oh, I didn't keep the World of Darkness music going. Frey, come help. Do 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 do. No spells for you. Well done, Esteem. Anything new to say? Like talking to an old friend. Yes, that's what it's like. I think I've grasped the principle now. I only need to remember the feeling for next time. I almost feel as if I do remember it. Your ether is familiar somehow. That's impossible, of course. Unless they are fragments of the same soul. You know, if Unukalhai and Neilbur are fragments just like we and Ardbert were. A bounty of hunters? Now that Taina and I are capable of performing the necessary magics, I would like to make an attempt at investigating conditions on the 13th. Might I trouble you to contact Becklug? Imogen! Are you there? I hope you've not lost focus on the void problem. I have an exciting breakthrough to share. A work of Porksy-related genius, if I do say so myself. Becklug! Excellent timing. We've made considerable progress as well. And are ready to open a portal when you are. Well then, what say you meet me at Laxon Loft forthwith? It's far enough from any major aetherites to avoid the sort of ethereal interference that would be a hindrance to our observation of the void. Very well. We'll see you at this Laxon Loft anon, or as soon as I can locate it. See, that is the kind of detail that I have been criticising World of Warcraft for not doing. That leap of knowledge, that suddenly Unukalhai might know things that he wouldn't normally know. It's just that little bit of extra detail that WoW sometimes lacks in its storytelling. Also, why have they all got link pearls? I'll lead the way. I too am eager to be one step nearer to our goal. You don't mind if I think of it as our goal, do you? I'd be honoured. Thank you, Taina. Unless Unukalhai and Taina are brothers or something. Or fragments of the same person, perhaps. I suspect, though, actually, a lot of that kind of speculation could be rife now that we've had that kind of breakdown. It's like whenever World of Warcraft introduces a new kind of race type, everybody's like, oh, next allied race. Still waiting for Tuskar, if I'm honest. Or Totolans. This is Laxon Loft, isn't it? Yeah. We're going to do it on top of the building? We are not. Well, near the top. This is where we came to fight Cielo, wasn't it? I can still scarce believe how quickly we've progressed. It's almost as if we've been friends all along. It appears Becklug has yet to arrive. Patience, Unukalhai. He's talking to himself. Small talk, small talk. Oh, and she's changed into her... I love that tunic. I hope you weren't waiting too long. Porksy! Nah. What? You didn't think I'd want to see this for myself? The 13th was my home too, if you recall. Quite. Though, as I explained, we won't be the ones doing the seeing, strictly speaking. This familiar will gather all the information we need. Assuming you two can create a hollow for it to pass through. Nod. Easy. Do I have to kill anything? That will do nicely. Now fly, my Porksy, fly! Whoop. Well, it's made it in. And something is coming out. Ooh. What the? What the flip? My, that's an ugly one, isn't it? Boss music starts. What is this? I feel like I should have... Have I seen this model before? Anybody got anything to say? There are more pressing matters at hand. What is this? Dvalin? I feel... Yeah, I feel like I must have seen one of those before. Maybe I haven't. As I expected, these creatures hardly pose a challenge to you. Maybe don't tell something about how large and horrible that one was, though. Those two have really taken to each other, haven't they? I suppose they're of a similar age in some ways. At any rate, Unukalhai is, of course, isn't he like really old? Because he's not aging, technically. Thank you for clearing that up. The Porksy ought to be back any moment now, though I can't sense it. Odd. We get to go through to the world of darkness. Perhaps it's lost. If Demagen created an etheric beacon as she did for me, it might find its way back more easily. That may work. Give it a go. Channel ether into the hollow. What? A tuning? I think a tuning is just kind of the default. The default action to go with this. Keep at it! Aha! A distinctly Porksy-like presence. I see the snout. There we are. Now close that hollow before anything follows. Hurrah! Nods. Smiles. Small talks. And everybody's just ignoring the Porksy. I believe it has performed its task thoroughly as instructed. Good, Porksy. With luck, its observations may indeed lead us to a means of driving the darkness from the 13th. However, I will need to review its findings in detail before I can tell you more. It could take years to deduce a suitable solution. I admit that I'm impatient to find a way forward, but I have endured millennia with half as much hope as I have now. If I must wait, then that is what I shall do. Like Demagen and your warriors of light, I will persevere until my world is safe once more. That is what a hero does. I think you'll make a good one. You as well. If that's the end of the excitement for the time being, we should head back to the Wandering Stairs. Clear out that pall of anxiety Serig is spreading all over the place. Ooh. So maybe there is hope yet for the 13th. I hope so. And it will be interesting if people from the first, where all the light is, are part and parcel of taking some of that light and turning the darkness in the 13th into something useful and manageable. I like the balance of that. But it also means my speculation about Reen and Gaia are incorrect, so I probably should play that raid stuff. I'm quite inspired to do so now, actually. Even though it's late in the day, so I doubt Raid Finder is going to be very useful. Ah! You've returned, Helen Ole. Not that I only doubt you would, of course. And how did your search of the Hollow go? We may have the information we need to save the 13th. It may be some time, years maybe, until we can be certain. But I will be here for as long as it takes. On that subject, I've been thinking. Would you be interested in joining us? As a bounty hunter, I mean. Serig and I hunt down sin eaters and other threats. The first was saved, but it remains far from safe. You could help us protect the people here. I think I would quite like that, protecting people. If I can do that, then perhaps I will find the strength I need when the time comes. Which is something that he wasn't afforded the chance to do on the 13th. That has been part of his storyline. It? Strength, you say? Sounds like you could use a dwarf with a massive hammer. Hi, guys. What's Cielo doing? I may have shared the tale of the 13th with a few other noted hunters. I always loved the Lalafell thumbs up emote. Aye, I know what it feels like to fight for something you've already lost. To need to find a way to make it right. And I know that it's not easy to fight on your own, inconvenient as that little truth may be. Thus a new team is born! This calls for a toast. Oh, God. I don't object, so long as this lot carries their weight. I'm a bounty hunter, not a fuka herder. Ba-bum, ba-ba. Thank Thank you so much. All of you. I would be honoured to fight at your side. I noticed the little look we were giving Ciela there. I shall do my best to justify the faith you have shown in me and to save my home. Someday, I hope we can visit it together. Set up for something coming later, perhaps? A hook to keep us returning to the first after this expansion is done? Perhaps? A seed that may or may not be used at some point in the future? A new chapter of New Game Plus has been added. Friends to the End. Ba, 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 ba. Oh, I got a title from doing those. Complete the quest. Safekeeping. I'm glad Taylor's made a friend his own age. Be on the odd side, but aren't we all? Yep. So, where actually is... Oh, he's there. There is doubtless much I can learn from work as a bounty hunter, especially with Taylor as my guide. At loose ends, are you? You're welcome to loiter about here if you intend to spend some coin while you're at it. Not that I'm not grateful for the business you brought in, mind. The hunters are here even more often now than they were working together, and their accounts never go unsettled for long. They're a pain in the arse to serve, of course. Maybe I'll drop your name next time I need them to behave. Still, it's nice to feel like something grand is in motion again. Perhaps Ardbert rubbed off on me more than I anticipated. Tell me of Unukalhai. As I mentioned, we've never met in our previous lives, or should I say, while we were properly alive. This never gets less confusing. In any case, we each fought to protect the 13th, but alone as we were, I could hardly say that I know the details of his efforts, only the regrets that we shared after. It wasn't too long before we went our separate ways to play our separate parts, yet here we are again. One last chance to walk the noble path together? Who can say? They very clearly planned this well in advance. This is the kind of thing that it can... If you've got a skillful writer or writing team, you can make a lot of things in later stories seem like they were planned all along. And I don't know whether this was planned for a very long time, whether back in Heavensward, you know, they had this idea that they would need these characters. I think probably not. I know that they plan out their major storylines well in advance. So I suspect even as they were putting Stormblood together, they got the stuff for Shadowbringers in mind in terms of the main story. But this is not main story. This is this side stuff. So whilst it is possible that they always planned to have Unukalhai play a role in this, or maybe the idea of Ciela as a character came about because they didn't actually know what to do with Unukalhai. He's just been kind of there, but he ties into the stuff with Elidibus. He ties into the stuff with Ciela. It's very nicely wrapped together, and that is why I continue to enjoy this game from a storytelling perspective, because things work so well and mesh together so well. In 95 to 99% of all cases, there are always bits in these stories that is like, that's a bit convenient, that's a bit meh. But this has just been nicely put together, and that continues to impress me from a writer standpoint. You know, I've got 6 books written. I'm working on 7 and 8, and I've been working on 7 and 8 for a while now because a lot of things have got in the way, including to an extent YouTube. And building up a mythos, a lore for your own, your own world, especially as a fantasy writer, which is what I am. It takes a lot of thought, sometimes forethought, to plan ahead, but sometimes a lot of hard work to create a story that fits into things in a way that seems seamless, even though it wasn't planned at the time. And I've fallen afoul a few times of wanting things to go a certain way and then thinking, hold on, something about this isn't feeling right, and going back and saying, that's not going to work because of something that I've said or created earlier. Rules that I've established, for example. Sometimes I might feel like, well, I want this to happen, but I can't because of things that I've already established. Which is why a lot of writers keep systems, especially when to do with magic, world building, they often keep them vague or very focused on what is going on in the story at the time, so that they can be expanded later. Same, I think, for the 13th here. They've clearly got an idea of this is what has happened. But it would be daft if you're thinking, well, we have stopped the first being completely overrun with light. And, people are naturally going to speculate, could anything be done about the world of darkness? We've been there. We've fought against the cloud of darkness. We've defeated, canon-wise, a lot of the major void scents. But it is a thread that can be pulled at. And, the revelation, rather, that Unukalhai was from the 13th, that Ciela was also from the 13th, that Taina was, drawing the magic of the hollows from the 13th. There's a nice set of counterpoints to this story about overwhelming light. And the same goes for the Eden stuff, with Gaia being from, we think, the 13th. I can't remember actually how much of that we've got for Gaia, what she is, and so on and so forth. We know she's the sign of darkness, but as I said, I haven't played the raid content yet. So maybe, because I'm going to go and do that next, maybe all of this stuff that I'm spouting now will make no sense whatsoever, because I don't know all the rules. That's the nature of storytelling in an MMO, where things are kind of portioned out in terms of content and storyline. So yeah, I think that's all my thoughts. Disorganized and cluttered, as they often are when I'm reacting to things live. I will undoubtedly go away and have a little bit of a further think about this, and perhaps the Eden stuff will offer revelations that I saw coming or haven't seen coming. I'll let you in on those as and when they do or don't happen, because I do have some theories. Until next time, I hope you have enjoyed this hero's journey and taking it with me. Stay safe out there. Have yourselves a great day, good evening, whatever it is. I have no idea when I'm releasing these videos. That would require planning. Until next time, cheerio. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.